Hi guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to reduce your listening effort in background noise and with soft talkers, even if you have a severe hearing loss. Coming up. Recently, I have spent a lot of time traveling nationally and internationally speaking at a variety of different conferences. One thing that inevitably comes along with this is a lot of social time. Most of these conferences have anywhere between 100 and 1,000 attendees, many of which I had the ability to speak with on either an individual basis or group basis in a variety of different social settings. And one thing that I always notice at the end of a long day is that I am completely exhausted, not physically, but mentally. You see, the amount of effort that is required to communicate with that many people throughout the course of an entire day, oftentimes in noisy situations and speaking to people who have accents, is massive. One thing that is always on my mind when I'm in these situations is how much I have to strain to actually hear. And then my mind starts going to, what the heck is it like for someone with a severe to profound hearing loss? Now, we all know that everybody wants to hear better in a background noise situation. Ever since surveys started being a thing in the hearing industry, they've identified that every single year the #1 priority for everyone with hearing loss is hearing better in noise. But what does hearing better in background noise even mean? When you think about it, there are two things that are required to hear better in background noise: improved speech intelligibility and reduced listening effort. Let's start by talking about speech intelligibility. Speech intelligibility is basically your ability to comprehend or understand what someone is saying to you. When it comes to speech intelligibility in a background noise situation, the thing that we care about is signal to noise ratio. By signal to noise ratio, what I mean is the difference between the speech that you want to hear and the background noise that you do not want to hear. For example, a +5 decibel signal to noise ratio would be great, but a +10 decibel signal to noise ratio would be even better. This means that the speech that you want to hear would be between 5 decibels and 10 decibels louder than the background noise that you don't want to hear. And the better the signal to noise ratio, the better speech intelligibility that you can expect. But when the signal to noise ratio in a noisy environment like a restaurant is not very good, not only does your speech intelligibility start to suffer, but your listening effort starts to skyrocket. Okay guys, I hope you're enjoying this video so far. If you are, make sure that you hit that like button because it really helps out the channel. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, go ahead and do that as well, because that ensures that you never miss one of my newly released videos. And I release a bunch of new videos every single week. That being said, I greatly appreciate it, and a huge shout out to Phonak for sponsoring today's video, but more on them in a little bit. When I talk about listening effort, I'm referring to the resources or energy required of a listener to meet cognitive demands. You've probably noticed this yourself in a difficult listening situation. The background noise gets louder, you end up straining a little bit more to hear and focusing more on the person who's talking to you in order for you to understand what they're saying. When you do not have a clear speech signal, it requires more mental resources to try to figure out what the heck that person is telling you. If you're lucky, you'll be able to interpret what they're saying correctly. But even if you do, the amount of cognitive energy required to do so is mentally and sometimes even emotionally exhausting. But increased listening effort not only occurs in noisy environments, it also occurs when someone's speaking to you from too far of a distance, like in another room, as well as when you're trying to understand what soft talkers are saying. Those dreaded soft talkers. You know what I'm talking about. In some situations, it doesn't even matter how much effort you put into hearing. It's just easier to give up. This is what led Phonak, today's video sponsor, to develop their new Lumity platform of hearing aids that now includes 2 different NAIDA behind-the-ear options for individuals with severe to profound hearing loss who want to improve speech intelligibility and reduce their listening effort using smart speech technology. Let's talk about several smart speech features inside of the Phonak NAIDA Lumity hearing aids that are designed to improve intelligibility and reduce listening effort. First, we have Stereo Zoom 2.0, which allows the NAIDA Lumity hearing aids to use their directional microphones in a way that improves your speech intelligibility by 16% compared to fixed directional microphones. Not only that, but researchers identified that Stereo Zoom showed reductions in subjective listening effort in +3, +6.5, and +10 dB signal to noise ratio conditions compared to real ear sound, which corresponds to a 24% 20% reduction in listening effort. And researchers also identified that stereo zoom reduced EEG brain responses, which suggests less listening effort as well. The speech sensor feature has the ability to improve your signal-to-noise ratio by an additional 3.4 decibels at your sides and 2.5 decibels from behind you, which is equivalent of a 15% and 11% improvement respectively. And if you use dynamic noise cancellation, you can get up to an additional 4 decibel signal-to-noise ratio improvement as well. Of course, if you are really serious about improving your speech intelligibility and reducing your listening effort, you should strongly consider using one of the Phonak Roger microphones. These microphones are directly compatible with your Phonak Naida Lumity hearing aids, and these microphones include the Phonak Roger On-IN version 2, the Roger Select IN, and the Roger Table Mic 2 IN. And because you're probably getting sick of me explaining signal-to-noise ratio improvements, why don't I just let you listen to it for yourself?
Okay, everyone, let's get started with today's workshop. Today, we're going to create a virtual time capsule. At your table, please find a large piece of paper, along with some colored markers and a few magazines. Please clip the photos from the magazine, draw pictures, or write words of 20 things you would want to show people 20 years in the future what was important to you today.
Can you hand me that magazine, please? I'm going to look for a picture of the sailboat. Being on that water is my happy place.
20 things is indeed a lot, but we can...
There you go. Sometimes hearing is believing. But what if you also struggle with speech intelligibility and listening effort for soft talkers or people who are at a distance, especially if you have a severe to profound hearing loss? Well, the Phonak Naida Lumity has you covered there too. With the speech enhancer feature, Phonak has been able to improve speech intelligibility by 23% if someone is at a distance of up to 4 meters away, which is just over 13 feet from you. And it even improves speech intelligibility by 18% if someone is in a different room, which probably happens more often than you would like. But the best part is, this speech enhancer feature gives you 20% reduction in listening effort when you're speaking to those soft talkers in your life, even if they're at a distance from you. Because let's be honest, you could beg someone to increase the volume of their voice for you, and they're gonna do it for about one sentence, and then their voice is gonna drop right back down to where it normally is. Now, as great as all of that technology from Phonak is, I should also say that your ability to maximize intelligibility and reduce listening effort has to do with how well these different devices and features are set up for you by your hearing care professional. I cannot even begin to tell you how many patients come into my clinic on a weekly basis who are underperforming because their hearing aids are not programmed correctly and their digital features are not optimized properly. And one of the easiest ways to ensure that your hearing aids are programmed properly to your hearing loss prescription is to have them verified using real ear measurement. Real ear measurement is the gold standard of hearing aid verification to ensure that your hearing aids have been programmed properly to your hearing loss prescription. In a 2012 study by doctors Ron Levitt and Carol Flexer, they identified significant signal-to-noise ratio improvements when real ear measurement was completed versus not completed as indicated by this graph. The crazy thing is, even an old analog hearing aid programmed using real ear measurement outperformed more advanced hearing aids that were programmed without using real ear measurement. When we look at this graph, the longer these bars are, the worse these hearing aids performed in a background noise situation. The black bars indicate advanced hearing aid technology that was not programmed using real ear measurement. The gray bars are the performance of these same hearing aids when real ear measurement was performed. As you can see, all of these gray bars got shorter after real ear measurement was performed, indicating a significant improvement in performance in background noise. Crazy thing is, even this old analog hearing aid on the far right-hand side of this graph outperformed these advanced hearing aids if real ear measurement was not completed. It would be a shame to get a fantastic set of hearing aids that have the ability to help you hear substantially better, but they don't give you the full amount of benefit because they were never programmed properly. Knowing how difficult it is for me to understand speech in noisy environments and how much listening effort it actually takes, I can only imagine how much more difficult this is for someone with a severe to profound hearing loss. This is why when you're trying to get better speech intelligibility and reduce your listening effort at the same time for individuals with a severe to profound hearing loss, you have to make sure that you have really good hearing aids and all of the capabilities of those hearing aids are optimized. And if you do this well, your performance could meet or even exceed the performance of individuals who have less of a hearing loss.